What's poppin', y'all? It's your girl Bajaa Lyte, and you already know I'm just coming through to spread a little light. So, if you have been up to date on my journey journal, journey to BajaaLyte.com, then you know that my last post was 5 things that won't happen to me in 2020, and I was pretty much foreseeing what 2020 would look like for me and 5 things that I won't be struggling with. So if you haven't checked it out, I suggest you go ahead and go check it out and see what your girl was talking about and see if you can relate, you feel me? But that's not what this post is going to be about. This post is going to be about the first thing I said I won't be dealing with. And that first thing I said that I won't be dealing with is struggling with money. Yes, I'm pretty much, you could just call me That's So Raven, and I predicted and I can see the fact that I won't be struggling with money because I realize that I am money. Newsflash, I'm the bag. You're the bag. You just have to match the frequency of the bag, and not only match the frequency of the bag, but educate yourself about the bag. Build a healthy relationship with the bag. A lot of us have bad relationships with money because of us growing up and experiencing lack, and so we have the mindset of lack. So I decided to invest my energy into something that's going to bring me financial literacy, and that thing that's going to bring me financial literacy is pretty much getting me something that's better than a sugar daddy. Okay, I found me somebody that's better than your sugar daddy, you feel me? And his name is Mr. Robert T. KIYOSAKI, and excuse me if I pronounce his last name wrong, but he is the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And if you're not familiar with that book, I'm gonna give you 5 tips that I've learned from that book that's gonna make your girl richer, okay? And make you richer if you feel to take in the needs to, educate yourself and do the work, you feel me? And so I'm just gonna stop with the rambling and we're gonna get into it, okay? So, first things first, he has so many beautiful light bulbs in this book, and I'm gonna pull out my notes and we're just gonna get into it, okay? So pretty much, yeah, let's get into it. He starts the book off and he's talking about knowledge is power, and with money comes great power that requires the right knowledge to keep it and make it multiply. So yeah, pretty much that's self-explanatory. Knowledge is power, and with money comes great power that requires the right knowledge to keep it and make it multiply. He also says wealth is a person's ability to survive so many days forward if they stop working today. How long could you survive if you stop working today? And I'll be the first to admit, your girl won't survive. I'm not going to survive because I only have next month's rent. And shoot, next month's rent is about to be due, so your girl will be screwed. And because I'm acquiring nothing but wealth, and that's what I'm attracting, I decided to, like I said, get educated with this book and teach myself the things that I needed to do to make sure I am able to make money work for me and keep my money coming in and generating. So let's get into the first thing, and that is assets versus liabilities. It says it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. You feel me? And I've just felt like that was so dope. So he says assets is something that puts money in my pockets whether I work or not. Okay? And I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. You want to make sure you have money in your pockets whether you're working or not. And a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. He also says this is all you really need to know when it comes to assets versus liabilities. If you want to be rich, simply spend your life buying and building assets. If you want to be poor or middle class, spend your life buying liabilities. And for those that don't know what assets are, pretty much an asset is just something that you can consider real estate. It's real estate, stocks, bonds, intellectual property, and he has liabilities being mortgage, consumer loans, credit cards, and material things, because those are all things that are coming out of your pocket, and that ain't cute. You feel me? That ain't cute. And so by knowing the difference between an asset and a liability, you will be able to monitor the money that you are generating. You want to be able to make your money make you money and not allow your money to depreciate over time. For example, when you buy jewelry or cars, they are not the same price that they are when you bought it. And if you try to sell it back, they will be taxed on, and you will be taxed on the purchase or the profit that you make from it, and it's also not as much as you spent. So that's why liabilities are just that, a liability. So we're going to move on to the next thing that he talks about, which is minding your business. And I'm going to read you what he says. It says three of the reasons why you should mind your own business. It says, 1, you work for the company. Employees make their business owners or their shareholders rich, not themselves. Your efforts and success will help provide the owner's success in retirement. Pretty much, you're making your boss rich while they're sitting, traveling, doing whatever it is that they need to do, and you're clocking in and out of work. That's whack. And then it also goes on to say, 2, you work for the government. The government takes its share from your paycheck before you even see it. By working harder, you simply increase the amount of taxes taken by the government. Most people work from January to May just for the government. That from January to May is pretty much 5 months, which is like 152 days, is dedicated to paying the government taxes. And when I read that, I was like, hell, mother, nah, like that is so whack. I'm putting all my energy into this, and I'm not, half that money I'm not even reaping. It got to stop. The nonsense has to stop. Look, I'm over here stuttering because it got me that worked up. Okay. And it says 3, you work for the bank. Who told you, Rob? Who told you I worked for the bank? No, I'm just playing. Okay, so he says you work for the bank. After taxes, your next largest expense is usually your mortgage and credit card debt. And that is true. I can't tell you how many people come in stressed out because they have to pay their mortgage, they have to pay their credit cards, and they're going broke. It's not even making them richer. You feel me? And so I'm just like, He says you need to learn how to have your increased efforts benefit you and your family directly. Concentrate on minding your business, focusing on your efforts and acquiring assets instead of a bigger paycheck. Keep their job and rely on their wages to fund the acquisition of assets. So pretty much he's just telling you to focus on you, focus on the things that you can do to make your family break those generational curses so you guys don't have to experience lack any longer. You feel me? So we're going to move on to the next one, and that will be corporations. Okay, y'all. So how many of you guys thought a corporation was a super duper big building that was lavish, that has glass windows, billions of people not billions of people, I'm tripping, but like people working there, like it's a whole building, it's a whole corporation, right? No. Now Mr. Rob, my sugar daddy, he broke it down for me, and he told me, nah, sis, like it ain't even that. Like what you thought it was, it ain't even that. And let me share with you guys what he shared with me, which is, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going through my notes. Bear with me. And so it says, a corporation is merely a file folder with some legal documents in it, sitting in some attorney's office and registered with a state government agency. It is not a big building or factory or a group of people. A corporation is merely a legal document that creates legal body without a soul. It says, using it, the wealth of the rich was once again protected. It was popular because the income tax rate of a corporation is less than an individual income tax rate. In addition, certain expenses could be paid by a corporation's with pre-tax dollars. It says the problem is that people who lose are the uninformed, the ones that get up every day and diligently go to work and pay their taxes. If they only understood the way that rich play the game, they could play it too. Then they would be on their way to their financial independence. This is why I cringe every time I hear parents advise their children to go to school so they can find a safe and secure job. An employee with a safe, secure job without financial aptitude has no escape. escape. And then he goes on to elaborate more about how 4 to 5 months we are just covering our taxes, and the harder we work, the more money they take. And like I mentioned, when I first got my Chase check, a big part of it's gone because I don't have kids and it's paying taxes. You feel me? So it says, instead, search for ways to minimize the tax burdens. They hire smart attorneys and accountants to persuade politicians and change laws to create legal loopholes, and they use their resources to affect change. So pretty much what he's saying is knowledge is power. So educate yourself about the laws of corporations and the things as such. And also he also explains how when you're working when you own a corporation, you are giving yourself the opportunity to earn your money, save your money, and then pay your taxes. Whereas when you're an employee, you earn your money, you pay your taxes, and then you get to save or spend whatever is left. And that's whack. You feel me? That's whack. Rich people over here living large are in charge and get to pay their taxes last, where we have to pay our taxes before we even see our check. And that's why it's beneficial to have a corporation. In this book, he doesn't explain too much about corporation. He does give a book suggestion that we could read if we wanted to learn more about it. But I'll give that to you guys at a later time. So again, he's just elaborating on to be smart and get educated about the law and da-da-da-da-da. So speaking of the laws, I'm going to tell you why corporations. I'm going into a little bit more details about the laws for corporations. And it says, a corporation wrapped around the technical skills of accounting, investing, and marketing can contribute to explosive growth. It says a person who understands the tax advantages and protection provided by a corporation can get rich immediately. And he talks about the protection provided by corporations can get rich so much faster than someone who is an employee or a small business sole proprietor. It's like the difference between someone walking and someone flying. The difference is profound when it comes to long-term wealth. He goes on to talk about tax advantages, and he says a corporation can do many things that an employee cannot, like pay expenses before paying taxes. And that's when I was talking about earn, save, then pay taxes versus earning, paying taxes, and then save. He says a corporation earns, spends everything it can, and is taxed on anything that is left over. It's one of the biggest legal tax loopholes that the rich use. They're easy to set up, and they're not expensive if you own investments and that are producing good cash flow. For example, by owning your own corporations, your vacations can be board meetings in Hawaii, car payments, insurance repairs, and health club memberships are company expensive, and most restaurant meals are partial expenses, and on and on and on. So pretty much what he's saying, corporations use their money to live life, and their money in their pocket is just their money in their pocket. I'm trying to live like that, you feel me? So then he talks about protection from the lawsuits. It says, we live in a litigious society. Everybody wants a piece of your action. The rich hide much of their wealth using vehicles such as corporations and trusts to protect their assets from creditors. When someone sues a wealthy individual, they are often met with layers of legal protection and often find the wealthy person actually owning nothing. They control everything but own nothing. The poor and middle class try to own everything and lose it to the government or to fellow citizens who like to sue the rich. They learned it from the Robin Hood story, take from the rich and give to the poor. And I'm just like, damn. So pretty much I already elaborated on what that looks like. It's like your all your expenses go into the corporation, so you technically don't own anything, so you can't get sued. And it says, remember when I was telling you guys about the book suggestion? It's by Gary Sutton's books on corporations provide wonderful insight on the power of personal corporations. He talks about building our financial IQ, and it's actually the synergy of many skills and talents. If you aspire to great wealth, it is the combination of these skills that will greatly amplify your financial intelligence. So pretty much, I know that was a mouthful, but he's just pretty much telling you guys about the benefits of corporations and how it can help you if you are planning on becoming an entrepreneur and being someone that works for themselves and generating multiple streams of income. And that leads me to my final and last point. building multiple streams of income. As you may know, we cannot survive off one income. It's just not possible to cover every single expense with one income and still have money to play with afterwards. We've tried it, it doesn't work. Somewhere something falls apart. So it is in our best interest to develop multiple streams of income. And I remember when I was very young hearing, I don't even know who said it, but a rich person saying they have 7 streams of income. And the seven streams of income will be, oh, they have a talk show, they have a book, they have a clothing line, they have merchandise, they have a skincare products, they have all these different things, which is they own property, they have a consultation business. Like, they have multiple streams of income where they're not only depending on one to allow them to survive. And I think that's where most of us got confused, where we are working for our money and not allowing our money to work for us. And also, we should have our money making money while we're asleep. We shouldn't be draining ourselves to make other people rich and we're not even benefiting off of anything. Also in the book, he says to keep your day job and utilize that to get you to where you need to go. He talks about learning every job that you go, learning something, because you are always one skill away from, excuse the interruption, but yes, he talks about learning something from each job that you go to, because you're always just one skill away from living your best life, you feel me, and being financially independent. And I've learned that when I was working at Savers, I was so miserable. But once I decided to change my perspective on it and realize everything that I was actually learning from that job, it made it actually better. And so that job taught me endurance. It taught me how to market myself in sales. They always kept people coming back every Monday with the same rush, even though it used to get crazy, chaotic. People will always come back every Monday. They had, they were constantly raising their prices, but people kept coming back. They just couldn't get enough. And that was what I was paying attention to, the details, the organization, and all that type of stuff, how to keep their company happy, the donations, how they were giving people 20% isn't really anything, but because they feel like they're getting something for nothing, it's enough for them. And those are some of the things that I've learned when I was working at Savers. Now that I'm working at Chase, I'm learning how to have people skills, how to push back, how to negotiate, how to I'm also learning financial literacy. So it's all about alignment, it's all about paying attention, and it's all about learning, always learning, so you could take that information and apply it to your business. So I hope this was very informative for you guys. Again, the book is called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. He is my sugar daddy. He is the best sugar daddy, because not only is he's not giving me money and being able to take it if he wanted to take it. He's actually giving me the knowledge and the tools that I need to keep my money and make my money make me money. Again, there's so much jewels in there. I could not fit everything. I had to pick like my top 5. If you want me to do maybe a part 2, I have another book of his that I'm getting ready to read. So if you guys want me to do a part 2, I got y'all. Again, it's been your girl Bajaa Lyte. Peace and light. Holla.